there's this energy within me that feels like it needs something from a woman. It was the most prominent when I was younger. Like, the younger I've been, the more it's felt just overwhelming. This, like, I really need something from a woman. You know, I've always been one of those guys, or I was always one of those guys when I had friends in like high school and in college I was so like girl crazy that I would sometimes throw away a relationship just to sleep with a girl. Or I just wouldn't care about any of the dynamics of, oh, my friend that used to be my friend's girlfriend, anything. I was just like so thirsty and so hungry for the affection of women that none of that, it just didn't matter to me. Like, I couldn't even consider the full range of emotional kind of consequences or the ripple effect of my actions being so girl crazy. It's like I was so starved for a woman's love. And like I said, it was really, I just wasn't aware of, it was just when I was like in high school and college, and even up until my mid to late 20s, it was almost just like this automatic kind of unconscious yearning for the opposite sex. And a lot of it was rooted in sex itself, right? I just really wanted sex. And, you know, and then especially since Kundalini, of course, has come online, I've started to become more aware. But even early in my Kundalini awakening, I was still driven so much by this need and desire to be intimate and romantic with a woman. It just would dominate so much of my consciousness. It's like I would like pour through like, you know, is like pour through the feedback I'd be getting for my work even, or for what I was sharing, like, oh, is there someone that can fulfill this need for me that I can meet through this new channel thing that I've opened via the internet, like putting myself out there. And I don't want to say any of this is wrong or bad. Of course, so this is not to judge the desire to have sex with another or the desire to connect in that way. But just for me, I've noticed this energy has been a really prominent kind of energy in me of like this, I gotta have that. I gotta eat that fruit. You know, I need that nectar to survive. And when I was younger, I couldn't go long without sex. Like, I would always have to be having sex with somebody. Multiple people very often. I don't know how much it's important to share like details in that way, but I think the deeper point is like, I couldn't let there be this space where I wasn't intimately or romantically involved with someone, because that it would bring up so much pain. It would bring up this insatiable, like, it would bring up this like, I couldn't do it. And I didn't even realize I couldn't do it when I was younger. I didn't even realize any of this was happening. It's just like looking back on my life and realizing like, oh yeah, I didn't have any gaps really when it came to romantic love. And often my romantic love affairs, you could say, would just be overlapping, and there'd be several going on at the same time in some ways. And that even has continued into my Kundalini awakening quite a bit, where I would just be in love. And there's this beautiful thing. You can be in love with as many people as you want. Like, I fall in love with people almost instantaneously now, not always in the romantic sense, of course. So I don't want to make this thing about like, oh, we got to only love, but I'm just talking about like, I would always be needing this like romantic kind of validations, and I'd always like from multiple women at times. Like sometimes just one woman loving me wouldn't do it, right? And I just noticed that energy coming up today and having so much more awareness of like, oh, that's what this energy, it's feeling like it needs a woman. And recently, like 2023 has been a year where, I haven't had, just for the purpose of this video, just to share how things have evolved for me, it's been a year where it hasn't been true for me to be in really sexual connection with another in quite a while. Like this has been a different type of experience I'm having right now, and more it's becoming a different type of experience. Because even for a while there, I was really needing even something through like just something from a woman, like even through like a Zoom connection. I would just need to be in love and she's in love with me and it's sexual, and like I say, this is not to make myself bad for this, and this is not a video shaming myself, and I don't actually even feel shame about any of this stuff, which is why I can talk about it. If I felt shame about it, you guys wouldn't be watching this, most likely. But then that connection fell away, and then there was this, I noticed I've been in this space temporarily where there's not a romantic connection in my life. And as I'm saying that, I'm even like thinking like, well, there's several avenues I could go in this moment to go rekindle one or to have one. I could go, it's in a sense, it's available. Like there's always that availability or something. But there's this refinement of like, for in this moment, for this period of time, it's like not true or something. Like I'm being guided right now to actually let that space be empty. Like what happens when there's not some kind of romantic love affair happening in my life? And I've actually been kind of in this space more and more, deepening into that kind of space for a little while now. And it's been bringing up all kinds of stuff, and then it'll bring up stuff, and I notice sometimes that's when I'll go to like one of these places I could go for it, even though it doesn't feel quite true. And it has a little energy of chasing to it. It's like a drug addict, And I think that this feeling, it's actually related to why I was such an addict. And I can still have addictive tendencies come up, of course. And so I've been deepening into this place where the guidance is, the flow of alignment is for me to really experience my aloneness without just always reaching for something in a romantic way that may not be that true, but I'm just in it because I'm afraid of what it's going to feel like if it's not there, if I'm not getting the serotonin, the validation from it. And of course this goes back to deep wounds. I heard this author say, or this really powerful psychologist talk about like men who are really crazy about women crazy, it tends to go back to a deep mother wound, and women who are crazy about men. And this is like, we can have lots of attraction for the opposite sex and it can be totally healthy, and let's let the sexual energy flow, and I have no judgment about it. Like sleep with as many people as you want, you follow your dharma in that way. But what I'm talking about is like, we get so crazy about the opposite sex that we're willing to ruin friendships. We're willing to be kind of destructive, self-destructive with it. And so for women, she was saying that are men crazy in that way, excuse me, I'm choking on some bread that I just ate. It goes back to a daddy wound, some form of rejection from the opposite sex of their parent. So like for men, it's like some form of rejection from the mother, that they didn't get the sustenance and the nourishment. So then that wound builds, and it just manifests in itself in a way that they just have to have the girl, they have to have the romantic connection at all costs, because or else they're just they can't feel that energy. It's just too much for them. And so that's how it manifested for me in high school and college and later on, and like I said, still in more subtle ways. And I love you, Mom, if you're watching this. This is not intended to be hurtful, but that's just what that woman said, and it really resonated with me. And so I'm noticing myself going into this new space. And while I'm going into this space, feeling like getting in touch with my romantic sexual dimension of myself even more in my own body and how I want to share from that place. And it's not like I want to turn this off, and I'm still like letting myself be open to being in love, to having romantic, intimate connection. But I'm wanting to learn to allow it to manifest from this place of just wanting to share love, wanting to give love, not wanting to be like, I need something from her right now. And the reason this actually came up in my consciousness is because this woman has reached out to me, and she's been wanting to connect, and she's very beautiful. And I feel like, there could be something in me that's sexually attracted to her. And I'm noticing today, I noticed I had sent her a message and she didn't respond for a while or something. And there's that energy in me came up really strong of like, I need a response, or I need to talk to her right now or something. And it's very unconscious, because on the conscious level, it's like, she could just never respond and that's fine, you know? It's like, why do I need, what do I think I'm going to get from her on a conscious level? It's like, there's nothing to get from her. But I noticed this unconscious part of me today got really just alive in my body. And I think I just wanted to, make this video to bring awareness to like this part of me and to shine a light on it. Like when I make these videos, I'm just really bringing my own shadow to the surface. So here's my shadow, guys, let's shine a light on it. And that helps my field become more purified, you could say. And so I noticed that energy come up for her, and I just was really talking, like I was really inquiring. I was like, what do we think we're gonna get? And it's like it's like a drug addict. It's like you just need that hit, right? And because the universe temporarily has been guiding me to be more in my aloneness, to be more in this place where I'm not engaging in a romantic and intimate way with women, I feel like this part of me is coming up strong now. It's like really starting to come up to be met. And there was this craving to like message the girl again and to start kind of chasing, because that's what I always used to chase, like this energy. It's just, you will chase and chase and chase until it gets satiated or something. It will just, that's what it does. And that's what it, like drug addicts will talk about it. It's just like that kind of energy. And I saw it come up, and it was so big in my body today. And I'm also in an energy vortex. So it amplifies things. And I was just like, dang, what does it actually want here? What does it actually think that this woman's going to give it? And I know if, like, say it even went for it and messaged her again, and then me and the woman had a talk, like, there would be this temporary sense of relief, right? It's like, oh, the heroin addict, they had their heroin, and then I can just, like, relax for a minute. But I also could see, like, oh, but then it's just going to come up again and again. And is that the way I want to live my life in relationship, right? Do I want to live it like a drug addict? Just like, I need a hit of romantic intimacy right now. Or but I want to also be embracing about myself, like, I'm a lover. I'm a lover, right? And so I want to illuminate that aspect of me. Like, yes, I love to love. Oh my God, I love sharing love. I love pouring love into another. It's just so fulfilling. So there is that deep truth about me too. So I'm not like want to cut myself off in like a renunciate type of way. I want to stay open to being in love and to sharing intimacy, of course. But I just was wanting to bring some awareness to like the places I do that from and the energies that are involved, right? So it can be more pure, so it can be more loving, more of love, and less like a trauma bond type of thing. The battery's getting low. I better wrap this up soon. Yeah. Yeah, and I noticed that this wound, it gets really loud when I start letting myself go into a space where I'm not having that kind of connection. But I'm getting rooted in this place now where it's like, I want to have that connection when it's true, when it's in alignment. I don't want to chase it anymore from this wounded part of me, right? I don't want to just try to make something happen from this wounded part of me when it's not true, when it's not divinely guided. Because that will just create pain and suffering, ultimately. And we can learn through that pain and suffering that is created when we act from a wounded place. We can learn from that in a very tantric way. And so if that's happening for you, if you just find yourself doing something that you know isn't in alignment, but this wound is just too big and it's taking the steering wheel and it's happening anyways, experience what's happening from that place with a lot of consciousness. Feel everything there is to feel from that experience, because that's actually how you'll start refining more and more and start realizing like, oh wow, this wound, it's hurting so bad that it's just not going to take no for an answer right now, and it's just going to, whatever, smoke the cigarette again, or reach out to that person we know isn't quote unquote good for us, but I just really feel like I need something from them in this moment, Sometimes that's just going to happen automatically and unconsciously, and we're not going to be able to stop it. So instead of making ourselves bad or wrong when that's happening, just know okay, it's happening. It's just happening. So it doesn't seem like it's our choice right now. So let's just bring conscious awareness to it and experience it out. Experience out everything there is in it, like the feelings, what's going on right now. So you can really just get to know that shape of yourself, that part of yourself. And then when you really experience those parts out, then your taste for that kind of experience will diminish. Like your palate, in a sense, will get more refined. And then you'll start only having the taste for aligned experiences in all dimensions. And that's what's actually happening for me, is I'm acquiring this taste for just having an experience in the romantic and intimate dimension that's really just aligned with truth, that isn't coming from the wounded place anymore. And there might always be some of the wound in all of these places. I don't know if any of us get perfectly healed, you know what I mean? I don't think that's the point. I think the point is just to keep refining, keep letting our actions come from more and more love, and keep bringing forgiveness to ourselves when we notice our actions are coming from a wounded place, right? So even after I made this video, if I go reach out to that girl right now, I would still forgive myself. I'd be like, it's okay, honey. It had to happen this way. Let's be conscious with this. Let's feel this for everything it is. And in that way, you're refining, But I thought, I'm just going to make a video about this and just talk this out. Because if it's in me like this, it's in everyone. Every human has wounds, and every human tends to act from them from time to greater or lesser degrees, right? So just being honest about mine and how mine shows up in the sexual dimension, maybe that can help you. Maybe yours shows up in other dimensions. But yeah, felt good to shine a light on that aspect of my shadow that's been healing a lot. And just sending you guys all so much love. Thank you for being here. If you want to support this work with a donation, if that feels good and inspiring to you, there are links in the description box for that. I also work one-on-one with people in sessions, and there's also a link for that in the description box as well. So other than that, may peace be with you all. I'll see you in the next video. Namaste.